Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Chris Sloan. The reason for this video is to share with you the miracle that God did for me, and hopefully it will bring your faith up, because it certainly brought my faith up, and it can be a testimony to someone that's going through the same thing. When I was 16 years old, I met a couple of people and was introduced into the homosexual lifestyle. Um, After chilling with a couple of friends that I met, going to parties, living my life, doing me. Um, this one particular day in June 2009, my mom had a vision. Um, and anybody that knows my mom, when she has visions, they come true. Uh, and her one vision that she had, she told me it was black, dark, and people was just calling me and pulling me in. And I was screaming, calling my family, but nobody knew where I was at, so they couldn't help me. And when she shared that to me, I got upset because I know that when she has a vision, it comes true. So I didn't want to hear it. So I left and went to the party anyway. At the end of the party, I ended up falling asleep at the house that the party was at, and I ended up getting raped by three males. And one of the males infected me, but at the time I didn't know it. Um, they beated me up, threw me into an entertainment stand. Um, After I blacked out for a couple minutes, or I don't know how long it was, I went home and called my sister and let her know that I just told her I got beating up, but don't tell nobody. And later that day, I went to the hospital and I had internal bruising, couldn't open my eyes, was in a lot of pain. But the whole time I knew what happened, but I didn't tell the doctors or nothing. I just said I got beat up, got in a fight with a couple of friends, and so they just gave me pain medicine and treated me for a couple of days in the hospital. And a couple months later, about December 5th, 2009, my mom had another dream. She didn't tell me what the dream was. She just told me that I had to go get my blood work done for my diabetes. But really, she made an appointment to get me checked to see if I had any STDs or anything. So I went to go get tested about December 17th, 2009. My doctor called and asked for me to come into the office. He wouldn't explain over the phone to my mom what was going on. He just said that he needed to talk to me. So about 12 that afternoon, I went to the hospital and see my doctor. Came in the room. He had started crying, and I didn't understand why he was crying. But then he said to me, "You're such a great kid. You're only 17 years old. I don't know how this happened, but you're HIV positive." After he said that, I broke down and started crying, and thought my life was over. And once I calmed down, he told me he needed me to go to Children's Hospital to see the infectious disease doctor. So once I left there, I started to drive over to the hospital. And as I was driving over there, I was having thoughts of killing myself. So I had went down to the nearest bridge that I found, and I was going to jump, but then something, I guess it was God, stopped me, and I ended up getting back in the car, and I drove to the hospital. I met with the doctors. She told me everything was going to be fine. She's here for me. They're going to help me through this. I met with a social worker, and then I went home and went into my mom's room and broke down crying again and told her the news. And we both started to cry together and weep. And I have to thank four people that were in my life that helped me from day one with prayer and was there for me. God, for one, my mother, Pamela Sloan, my cousin, Cheyenne McAllister, and my aunt, Doceline Burrell. They were there for me since day one and prayed with me, prayed for me, was there, called and checked on me, was just everything I needed at the time. Well, December 17th of 2013 will be 4 years that I've been diagnosed with the disease. The first 3 years, my CD4 count was 900, and my viral load was 144,000 copies of the virus. January of 2013, I went to get my blood work done again and went to the doctors to see my doctor. I go every 3 months. And he told me that my CD4 count went up to 1,600 and my viral load dropped down to 20,000 copies of the virus. So I was happy, like my body was fighting and working without me being on medicine or anything. And my mom kept on saying to me, you know, that's nothing but the grace of God that's doing that. But I didn't pay it no mind. I just said, yeah, okay, whatever. Not believing that God can really do miracles like this. Um, so about in April, my mom's best friend, Charity Ann Parks, came to visit us, and she's a prophetess. And she came here. I explained my story to her and told her. And she said, "Okay, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna do like how they did back in the Bible time, back in the day." And she prayed for me from my head to the sole of my feet, front and back. And I began to fast with her for the 2 weeks that she was here with us. And she told me, as I go home, I'm gonna continue to fast for you, and I expect to hear some news in a couple weeks. And I said, okay, even though I didn't pay her no mind either. So about May 3rd, 2013, I was in the hospital. I was very sick, and I went in and found out that I was in DKA, which is a diabetic ketosis. And it's a life-threatening disease dealt with diabetes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm always going through something sick. And my stomach was still hurting, they couldn't figure out what was wrong. So that following Monday, they did a sonar and a sonogram, and they found out that I had cirrhosis of the liver and an enlarged spleen. And I'm like, oh God, if I go through one more thing, have one more sickness, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't do it anymore. I need a break. So as I was there, they took my blood work because May 14th I had another appointment with my HIV doctor. So May 14th came around, and I went into the doctors to see my doctor, and my doctor came in and was like, we have your labs back. You know, your CD4 count is 1685. That's a normal person's blood count. And he was like, your viral load is 0. You have 0% of the virus in your body. When I heard that news, it brought my faith up. It got me happy. I was like I don't even know. I couldn't even explain. And I had to look at the papers, and I kept on looking at the papers, and it said 0, and I couldn't understand. I was like, oh my gosh, that was nothing but the grace of God. My mom was telling me all along, and now I'm healed from it. And I hope by me sharing this, that it brings someone that's going through the same thing out, knowing that God can heal you from anything. He can do anything. Nothing's too big for him. It surely brought my faith up, and I know that if he can heal me from this, he can heal me from any disease that I'm going through, homosexuality, diabetes, everything that I'm going through. I know he can heal it. So I'm going to keep on fighting and living for God. I know it's going to be a battle for the rest of my life until I leave the flesh, but I'm going to continue to go and work. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I don't expect to get everything right on the first time, but I'm going to keep fighting until God heals me from everything. And like I said, I hope this brought someone's faith up and knowing that God can do anything, and hopefully this helped to testify to someone that's going through the same thing or other story or other things, the knowing that God can do anything. So that's my story.